Hey guys, it's Kitten, and this video is about a thing that I normally would not talk about or touch on because it's sort of political, and I do not like politics at all. I don't like them. But this is about weed, pot, cannabis. How to pronounce that word, it just went out of my mind. I'm sorry, I don't know where the fuck it went. Anyway, this is about weed. And I have mentioned before on my channel of my personal thoughts about that drug. I personally will never take weed unless it's a last resort type of thing. I am all for weed being used for medical uses. The whole reason I even felt inspired to make this video is because I watched BuzzFeed's one of their new videos about one of their hosts having chronic pain and she using weed to soothe that pain and try to get rid of it or make it more manageable. For that video, I am all for her using weed for that. I am all for people with a medical condition where weed actually works for them. On the other side of weed, I am very against people just taking weed just to get high and just for the pleasure of it when they have zero medical use for it. I am very much against that because to me, I see weed as any other prescription drug. For example, you wouldn't take Vicodin. You wouldn't take Vicodin just for the joy of it. Vicodin should 100% be used just for pain and just for medical uses. That's how I see weed. Yeah, it has the effects of you getting high and shit, but it shouldn't be abused. With my personal opinion, anything about prescription drugs or just drugs in general, I think you should only take them when necessary and when you have a medical problem. I take Advil and aspirin for headaches. Sometimes if I really need it, I take over-the-counter migraine pills. And then the only other type of drug I take are vitamins and shit. And then these allergy pills that are really fucking great. They declog everything and it's great. But the only reason I take them is because those are things that plague me on not a daily basis, but weekly basis. Those are the only drugs I take. I'm not one of those people that goes to fucking parties and yeah, give me all the pills and drugs that you got. No. I honestly, I've explained previously, especially in my Cheating X video, that I take drugs very seriously. I don't fuck around with them because they're one of the reasons why I am not a fan of drugs or even alcohol is because of the surgery I had when I was 3 to 4. Since I went under for that particular surgery and they pumped me full of drugs, and I was literally under 5 years old, I am very traumatized by that experience. And my body naturally fights off drugs. And also, I also figured out that fighting off drug thing that my body naturally does is actually genetic. Because my mom has the same problem for her blood clot surgery. They literally had to give her twice the amount of drugs for her size to knock her out and make her stay knocked out, is because her body naturally fights it that much. And my body is the same. And I know for a fact if I ever did go and have another major surgery or any kind of surgery where I had to go under again, you bet your ass that they'll have to give me the amount of drugs for a 200-pound man just to keep me passed out. Because my body will fucking fight that shit. Like, really, really, really fucking hard. It's ridiculous. Because of that, like, I know for sure if I ever did take weed, I would not have a good time at all. If I took weed just to get high, I would just not have fun at all. Like, because my body would be naturally go into this mode where it's fighting off this drug. Speaking of fighting off drugs, this is one of the reasons why I feel bad if anyone tries to kidnap me, because, oh, you bet your ass I'm gonna wake up before you want me to. For me personally, those are my opinions, because I just have a personal, not a hate toward people who just take it to get high. I just very much disagree with it, especially with what happened with my cheating ex. Since he was high and drunk when he cheated on me, that drug just shouldn't be taken as lightly as it should be when it comes to the pleasure side of it. Like, especially if you get, like, some stuff that is mixed with something else. Because I've heard fucking horror stories where, like, someone takes, like, a weed mixed with something else that they don't know what it's mixed with, and they vegetate for, like, 24 hours or 12 hours, and they just sit there. And to me, that's just, if that happened to me, oh my god, that would be, like, a personal hell. No. Stuff like that, it's just not okay for me, personally. It's just, I don't personally agree with people when they do it just to have a good time. I don't get it, honestly. For me to feel out of control is, like, so traumatizing feeling. Like, if I am not in control of my own body, that's like hell on earth for me, and it's just not okay feeling. That's one of the reasons why I fucking hate drugs that make me pass out or, like, feel off or not control of my body. That's one of the reasons why I fucking hate it. Not only my surgery I had when I was younger, but also, like, dental stuff, because I did have braces. 2 times that I had teeth pulled, and both times they had me go under for it. And I was not happy going in, and I was not happy coming out. It's just personal fucking hell. Actually, speaking of a dental thing, I honestly think that both times they didn't give me enough of the going under drug, because I remember both fucking times it was like a 2-second thing, but I remember waking up during it twice, like both times, 1 time for each, but I remember it, and like it was for like 2 seconds, and I didn't feel anything, but I remember opening my eyes for that 2 seconds, and no, thanks. No, I'm good. Fucking give me drugs for a 200-pound man, and we're good. No. This may be like a weird rant. I don't really know where I'm going. I've repeated myself multiple times about, like, I'm okay with medical uses, not so much about the pleasure side of weed. I didn't know that there could be, like, different types of weed to help certain things. Though I did know that they could make some kind of weed without, like, you getting high. I knew that existed. And I know personally if I ever come to it, or it's the last thing, like if I have cancer or something, I don't know. Like, I know for sure that I would specifically go into a weed dispensary and ask for something that I cannot smoke and something that will not make me high. Those are my 2 conditions, because I don't want to get high, and 2, I just don't like the act of smoking something or inhaling something That's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of vaping. I'm not a fan of cigarettes. I'm not a fan of, like, smoking pot. I'm not a fan of smoking shit. I have shitty lungs already. I don't need, like, water vapor or smoke to go into them or like, into my mouth. It's just, no, it's not a pleasant feeling for me or a pleasant thought. No thanks. I understand cigarettes, vaping, and stuff is, like, usually cool, and I know, usually specifically with cigarettes, I know that, like, it calms people down, but the act of smoking a cigarette or inhaling stuff with vapors and vapes, like, it makes me cringe, and it's just, no. Just fucking no, thank you. Not pleasant to think about. Just no, not pleasant. And I know with what I'm about to say that there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be outraged or blah blah blah. Like any other prescription drug or like literally any drug, you can abuse it. And people, like, I hear up and down, like, everywhere that, like, oh, you can't abuse weed or blah blah blah. When in reality, people don't grasp that, yes, you can abuse weed just as you can abuse Vicodin or, what's another drug? Morphine. Like, you can abuse any kind of drug. People don't get, like, yes, it's weed, it's supposed to make you chill, but being chill all the time is not a good thing. It really isn't. Because, especially when you're supposed to be making a living, when you're supposed to be going to work, when you're supposed to be, like, supporting your family if you have one, it becomes a problem when you're high 24/7 and you cannot function at work. You can't function in public places. That's when it becomes a problem. That's when you're abusing it. People need to grasp that you can literally abuse anything on this world. Like, you can abuse watching too much TV. I do that. You can abuse too much internet. You can abuse watching too much YouTube. You can abuse watching too much porn. You can abuse going to the mall too much and spending too much money on frivolous things and spending it on clothes. You can abuse anything. And it's all about moderation in this world. Like, you can abuse eating too much chocolate. When it becomes too much of a problem on a day-to-day basis, that is when you need to fix something. Even with weed. Most people don't see when they're abusing something. They think it's fine or something like that. See, that's why I'm not a fan of the types of weed that are meant to make you high. I am all for people taking the weed where you don't get high and it's for something medical, especially for like cancer patients, like the girl in the BuzzFeed video with chronic pain. Like, take that shit every day, because seriously, just do it. If I come across someone with cancer or chronic pain or that condition that the other conditions, I can't remember what the other conditions are. Like something about seizures and like over controllable shaking or something. I think those are the other conditions that like used with weed. Because I know, like, if you take that shit every day, life becomes more manageable. So there's two sides of the weed coin. There is the side where you are taking it every day just to function, which I am 100% all for. Fucking do it. But there's the other side where people just take it just because, and just to get high and party and shit. Like, that's the side of the coin that I very much disapprove of. Like everything, people need moderation. So I'm very opinionated when it comes to drugs in general, especially weed. even alcohol, I am very opinionated about that. I don't even drink that much. I've never been drunk before because one, I'm a lightweight, 100%. So it doesn't take much to get me buzzed, but I've never drank enough to get me flat out drunk. Mostly because my body fights it off well enough that the buzz doesn't really last very long. It, like, with me and alcohol, it hits me fucking hard, but it only lasts like 3 hours, and that's it, because my body fights it off that much. I have a very special relationship when it comes to things like alcohol, drugs, prescription drugs. Like, my body, it's a miracle that, like, I can actually take the drugs I do take, and it actually lasts for a while. I've actually noticed, even though a drug says 24 hours, for me it's gonna be like 12. And another thing that I wanted to mention, I don't know if I'm going to put this in the video. One of the reasons why I think you shouldn't set your sights on just weed or just any specific drug in general is because there is a risk that you're going to be allergic to it, that you're going to have a reaction to it. And I know someone who is allergic to weed. And when I've actually mentioned this, I never mentioned the person's name, but I mentioned it to, but it was on, I think it was on, a Twitch chat, and I had mentioned it, and we were talking about weed and shit. I mentioned that, yeah, I know someone who is allergic, and, a bunch of people had the same fucking reaction on the chat, that's not possible, it's weed, you can't be allergic to it. Last I checked, you can be allergic to pretty much anything. If you don't remember, weed is a plant. You can be allergic to a lot of fucking different plants. It's ridiculous how many you can be allergic to. And you can be allergic to prescription drugs. I'm particularly not allergic to any prescription drugs that I've come across so far, but I know my sister was allergic to this specific certain type of birth control pill. It made her fucking pass out. Have this specific reaction that I was not around. I was alive, but I don't remember it. But I remember my mom saying, yeah, she had this specific type of birth control pills that made her body react and make her pass out and all this bad shit because she was allergic to it. You can literally be allergic to anything. Literally. It's ridiculous how allergic you can be to certain things. And, my mom's allergic to a lot of fucking shit. I am surprised that I am not allergic to a lot of fucking shit. I probably am, but I haven't found that shit yet. Thank God. People need to realize that, yes, weed should be a medical thing in all states. Like in the BuzzFeed video, I'm very much supporting of that, it should be legalized, but only for medical use, in my opinion, because I know that it would be very, very much a tremendous help and a relief for someone who does take weed for medical problems like her when she has a chronic pain. She needs it every day. And if you have a drug test at, getting a job or something, and it comes back with weed, that's really annoying and ridiculous. Like I said, two sides of the coin. I personally think, yes, it should be legalized in all states, but it should also be, monitored. Like any drug, it needs to be monitored of, being abused or not, because I know, people monitor prescription drugs. If you take too much morphine or Vicodin, you will die. With weed, if you get high just to get high all the time, that's not good. You're not going to be functioning in normal life. Just moderation, people. Moderation is your friend. I think I'm done ranting. Yeah. I hope this didn't piss off a lot of people, especially with my cheating ex when he was high. I am very much even more off-putted of people taking weed for pleasure. It's just, I have a very bad experience with that, and it's No, I'm good without it. That's just my opinion. That's how I see it. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Bye, guys.